Let's turn our attention to the mining sector for a moment, and we all know how badly it's affected by the rolling power outages. It's of course going to top the agenda at the Johannesburg Mining Indaba, the Joburg Mining Indaba. The gathering comes at a time when there's a lot of pressure from multiple angles, as companies are also being forced to reduce their output. And then, of course, there's the very worrying and very dangerous issue of illegal mining. What a pleasure to welcome Vusi Mpofu from Nedbank Mining and Chemicals joining us this morning here on ENCA. Vusi, morning to you. And ordinarily, we would be looking back on the year that was, start strategizing for the next few years in the mining sector, and it'll all be a great get-together discussing the successes and some things we want to change. But of the issues, the litany of issues I just raised, what stands out for you? Illegal mining, rolling blackouts, no water, strike within the sector. Where do we begin?
Good morning, Gareth, and good morning to all the ENCA viewers. Thank you for having us. It's one of those, you've got to pick one. If I had to pick one, I think really it's more a South African problem than really just a mining one. But obviously mining is very badly affected by the energy issues that we currently find ourselves in. The production suffers. It's not, the processes that are run in mining are of a nature that they're not on and off. But to Eskom's credit, the way the load curtailment works within the mining sector is now well oiled. It's something that unfortunately we've now gotten used to and works quite well. So that will probably be right at the top of the list because it does affect output, and that in the course of time reduces South Africa's competitiveness in being able to deliver commodities globally.
It's also on the ground, it's also causing issues with job security as well. I imagine mining companies, when they can't produce because of power issues, there's obviously overheads. One of the biggest is, without a doubt, the staff as well. And without the mine workers, without the staff, you then can't produce. And we keep going around on this hamster wheel, don't we?
No, for sure. And, the thing is, the way the processes work is that a lot of the operations within South Africa are deep level, to the extent that you cannot switch off your power because you're sending people down great distances into the ground. There's ventilation that must keep running. You've got to be able to hoist your ore up to the top. So it does have an impact, and it's one of those things that if this continues, some mines will start becoming suboptimal, some operations become unviable, and that obviously will lead to mine closures and job losses going forward. But the industry is not was not putting themselves outside of the problem. And in that particular vein, there are a lot of projects that are coming on stream from a renewable energy perspective, so that from a mining perspective, we are part of the solution, as opposed to just identifying the problem and not trying to do our bit to put some megawatts onto the grid in the coming years.
Absolutely. I mean, we can sit and we can bash why the mining sector's got problems, and we can sit here all day, can't we, Vusi, and talk about the problems. I imagine the Joburg Mining Indaba also trying to find solutions. What are you hoping to hear, and who are you hoping to talk to about those solutions? Last question to you at the Mining Indaba. What's the conversations you're listening out for?
Well, it's been a very good couple of days. It's good to connect with people in person. It's probably the biggest concentration of the top executives and the captains of the mining industry, and you pretty much get to see all the big role players, whether it's CEOs or CFOs of your top 40 miners, your junior miners. You see your super co-CEOs in the form of Eskom, Transnet leadership as well. You look at all the funders, and there's also quite a bit of foreign participation in that. So it's definitely one of those conferences that brings together the leadership, and in that kind of crucible, you do get very good solutions for what we're trying to do, which is ultimately be constructive players within the development of South Africa.
Vusi, just very briefly, and I'll make this my last question as well. So Nedbank Mining and Chemicals as well. Give me one example where Nedbank, for example, in a case like this, is helping the industry, or at least being in the right conversation and taking solutions forward.
Yeah, so thank you for that question. From a Nedbank perspective, we've been very active over the past decade in the renewable energy space. We've participated in a number of the REAP rounds. This particular um, point in time has given us that opportunity to leverage our expertise within the energy space and combine it with strong relationships within the mining sector as super users of energy to be able to come in and provide solutions within that particular space for our clients. So that's one thing that we very proud to have been doing. And we always say within the bank that we're proud supporters to responsible mining. So given the global agenda from an environment perspective, a sustainability perspective. This is a very good confluence of the two competencies which we believe we have within Nedbank CIB.
Yeah, you can't have the one without the other, can you? Banking without mining, mining without banking, the two almost go together, don't they? Vusi, all the best, and enjoy the conference as well. I'm sure we'll hear about what it all was like in the next few days. Nedbank's Mining and Chemicals, it's Vusi Mpofu joining us this morning. Such an important conversation to have for the mining sector as they look back on the year that was. But how do you begin to plan for the year ahead, knowing we still have electricity issues for the foreseeable future?